Hello, this is Greg from SharePoint Maven, and in this tutorial I would like to show you 4 unique ways on how you can organize your files in SharePoint Online. Now, when companies migrate to SharePoint, usually, obviously, the number one method to store and organize documents in SharePoint is through folders. So essentially, the same way the documents were organized on a network drive in file share, or maybe using some other cloud, providers like Google Drive and Dropbox and so on. However, what's unique about SharePoint is that it has different ways to organize documents. Obviously, folders being one of them. However, there are actually 3 more unique ways to organize, your files in SharePoint Online, and that's essentially what I would like to explain and show you in this video. So the 4 options that we have in terms of organizing files in SharePoint are, option number 1, obviously folders. Option number 2, you can also organize files through metadata. Option number 3, which is kind of related to option number 2, but option number 3 would be to organize them through content types, which is another SharePoint feature. And option number 4 is to organize the documents through document sets. So again, what I would like to do now is spend a few minutes on each of the options and tell you a little bit more what this option is all about, and show you a brief demo. So let's start with option number 1. I don't think I need to spend a lot of time on this option because I'm pretty sure now you know how this works. But option number 1 would be to organize the documents through folders, right? Essentially, and you probably know how they work already. So essentially, the way you would organize the documents in SharePoint, you would create a site. Which is what you see right now on the screen. The site already has a document library, which is essentially a filing cabinet. And inside of that library, you would organize your files and folders. And you can either, create new files and folders in here, or migrate your, essentially a series of folders from your computer or network drive. And essentially, the folders in SharePoint work the same way as folders on a network drive. You just organize them through folders and subfolders, and that's pretty much it. Now, the only potential issue you might run with the folder hierarchy is the URL path. And let me explain to you what I mean by that. So if I click here on the home page of the site, you will note the URL. All right, at the moment, it's nice and short URL of my board site. If I go inside of the document library, you can see the file path became a little bit longer because obviously it takes into account the address, of that, the name of the library. If I click on this folder over here, you will notice the file path became longer. Why? Because now the folder name is encoded inside of the URL. And if I keep clicking on the folders and subfolders, you will notice that now the URL became even longer. Because obviously it has to build in the whole path of the folder hierarchy into the URL. Now, the limit in SharePoint is 400 characters. So essentially, if this URL, the whole URL, including the site address, the library, name, and encoded folders and subfolders, if that exceeds 400 characters, you will essentially get an error message. So this is usually the number one issue that happens, especially when companies migrate from file shares to SharePoint. You really have to kind of shorten the folder names and essentially, make them a little bit smaller so the URL, the total length, does not exceed 400 characters. But other than that, I mean, pretty much there is nothing more I think I need to mention about this particular option. This obviously happens to be the preferred option because it's a very familiar environment. You really don't need to get familiar with any other options, and from user adoption standpoint, it's an easy sell. The second option, the second way to organize documents in SharePoint is through metadata tags. And this obviously, if you are following my YouTube channel, if you are following my blog, this happens to be obviously one of my favorite features of SharePoint. Is the ability to apply metadata. And the whole idea behind metadata is that there are no folders. Essentially, the idea is that instead of folders, instead of putting documents into folders and subfolders and creating folder hierarchies, the idea here is that you apply tags to to the documents instead. So what you see right now on the screen is an example. It is a policies site, and I have a policies library, and I have a few policies on here. But if you notice, I don't have any folders. Essentially, instead, what I did, I created a number of tags, and you can create your own. There are different ways to create your own tags. And in my case, I decided to tag the policy documents with an expiration date, the owner, which department owns the policy, the status, and the author. And of course, you can create whatever metadata tags you wish. And what's the big idea behind metadata? So first of all, this particular option resolves that 400 character URL issue I mentioned previously. Why? Because there are no folders. Essentially, what you see is what you get. It's kind of a flat architecture. We have a site, we have a library, and documents inside. There are no additional levels. So your URL path, is not going to be as long as it was with folders and subfolders. But the biggest advantage of metadata is this. First of all, everyone sticks to the same naming convention. Remember, with folders, whoever created the folder or subfolder, however they name them, right? Everyone kind of gets, needs to get familiar with that folder hierarchy. The idea behind metadata is that everyone sticks to the same naming convention. And for example, if I want to tag against a particular department, I only have specific fields to choose from. All right, so I cannot make up make my own names, create my own names, maybe misspell them. Essentially, the idea is that when I try to tag a document, I stick to the drop-down choices that have been provided to me when somebody created the the metadata columns, the tags. So that's benefit number one. Benefit number one is the fact that everyone sticks to the same naming convention. Benefit number two is that if you want to find something in this library, it's as easy as shopping on Amazon website. All right. So just like on Amazon, you type something into the search box on Amazon.com, and you find all the results, and then you can filter those results by different brand names and colors and cost and reviews and all that stuff, right? So the idea here is the same. So first of all, I can still search the, and find the documents using the search box, all right, using the keywords. So that's obviously still an option. But because I also have those metadata tags, I can now, filter my library and sort and group any way I want. So let me demonstrate this to you. So I can click on this filter icon over here, and I can say, show me all the documents where the owner is HR, you see. And I can filter as many, and choose as many filters as I want, and maybe show me all the policies with a status, active. All right, or maybe written by a particular, user. All right. So essentially, you can choose different, combinations here, and find what you're looking for. But it's not just filtering that you can do. You can also group by different columns. All right, so I can group by, let's say, status. and I can filter at the same time. And you know what? Another thing I would like to do, so I want to group, I want to filter. Let's filter for this. And you know what else I want to do? I want to sort it by the expiration date. All right. So essentially, just like on Amazon website, right? You can filter, stuff, you can sort stuff, you can kind of do the same thing here. It's almost like working with Excel document. You can filter, you can group and sort data any way you want. And essentially, this is the big idea behind metadata. Like I said, there are two major benefits. The fact that you now have more ways to find, something in this library. When you have lots of documents, in addition to the keyword search, you can also filter, group, and sort the data, the files in this case, and also the fact that everyone sticks to the same naming convention. Now, the third the third option we have in terms of organizing documents is through content types. That's yet another very powerful SharePoint feature. It's kind of related to that option number 2 I just mentioned, but what is the idea behind content types? Look, with this policies library I just showed you, essentially, I had only one type of content in here, policies, right? So if I upload a document here, I have to tag it against the expiration date and the owner and the status and the author, essentially, all the fields that make sense if I upload a policy. But let's just say I want to upload, I don't know, something completely different, not a policy, maybe an invoice. Well, obviously, none of this metadata will make sense because when I upload invoice, I have different metadata tags. So in this case, we have a feature called content type. And essentially, what content type is, it's a way to combine metadata columns, metadata tags for a specific type of content. So, if I use the invoice example again, if let's say I upload an invoice, I want to fill out invoice related metadata, things like amount of the invoice and due date and maybe the status of the invoice. And if I upload some other type of content, I will tag it against completely different set of metadata columns related to that particular type of content type. So as an example, in this library, I have set up a content type feature, and I have two types of content, company invoice and CAD drawing. So I know you might probably never, you might never put those two distinct types of content into the same library, but I did just so that I can demonstrate this to you. So as you can see, I uploaded a company invoice in here. All right, and of course, all right, because I uploaded an invoice, I have invoice amount and due date, fields filled out. But let me just show you something else. So I uploaded the document, and let's just say this is not an invoice. This happens to be a CAD drawing. So obviously, none of this invoice amount and invoice related metadata makes sense. So let's go ahead and tag it. So we click the eye in a circle, which is called essentially what you see right now is the, as we call it, document information panel. And look at this. The first field is content type. And at the moment it says company invoice, so obviously it's asking me for invoice related metadata, invoice amount, due date, client name, and so on. But this happens to be CAD drawing. So I'm going to switch it to another type of content, and look at this. I now have completely different metadata tags. So the system now asks me to fill out metadata tags related to CAD drawing. So I can choose maybe a date, drawing size, whatever it is, all right? It's essentially whatever the fields are related to the drawings in this case, all right? And essentially, yeah, the choices have been saved. You are not going to see it here because I did not display those columns. As a matter of fact, you know what? Let's go ahead and display those columns so you can see them. So yeah, I believe these are the four related to the drawing. over here. All right. So as you can see, right, I just filled out those, those essentially fields, and because they're related to CAD drawing, I mean, you see them filled out. So essentially, what this content type feature allows you to do, it allows you to have totally different types of content within the same library. All right, so this way, if you do want to take advantage of metadata because of filtering and grouping and sorting I just showed you, and you don't want to create separate libraries for different types of content, right? Essentially, content type allows you to share the same document library for different types of content, and based on the choices you make, it will prompt you for different unique metadata fields for that particular content type. The fourth and final option that we have in terms of organizing documents in SharePoint is through a feature called a document set. Document set is, again, another formal terminology that we have within SharePoint. Document set actually, to be precise, happens to be a special type of content type, but it looks and kind of behaves a little bit differently. Let me explain to you what document set is all about. Document set is actually quite unique. Again, happens to be one of my favorite features of SharePoint, and kind of a hidden gem within SharePoint. Not many people know about the existence of this feature. But the idea behind the document set is that it combines pretty much the previous three options I mentioned. So obviously, I just mentioned to you the folders, being option number one, metadata being the option number two, and content type being option number three. Document set has a little bit of everything. So essentially, the idea behind a document set is the fact that if you like folders, but you also like metadata, document set allows you to have both. And what you see right now on the screen is actually a document library that has been configured with document set functionality. And instead of the yellow folders, right, you get to see this icon. This is actually a document set. So what's the big idea behind document sets? The big idea behind the document sets is that they are folders with metadata. All right, or the regular folders that we have, you cannot actually apply tags to those folders in SharePoint, and you can only apply tags to the files. Well, guess what? With document sets, that's the whole idea behind document sets, is that these are pretty much folders with metadata. So in this case, I'm using document sets to store project documents. And I have a few projects here. So I have a folder for each of the projects. And as you can see, all my projects, all my folders were tagged with project-specific metadata. Who is the project manager, budget, phase, and so on. And this allows me the ability to obviously, filter and sort and group, just like I can do with regular, files and metadata. But that's not all. Let's click inside one of these folders, one of these document sets. Look, inside I have documents. So I'm inside of this project ABC folder. And I have some documents here, some project documents. But look at this. My metadata now is showing for the files. So I no longer have metadata. Right at this level, we had folder-specific metadata, project-specific metadata. But once inside of the folder, I have file-level metadata. So in addition to being able to tag the folders, the top-level project folders themselves, you can now also tag files inside with unique file-level metadata. So in this case, I have files and I tag them with document status and document type and so on. And of course, this gives me the ability to, once I'm inside of a given project, I can say, show me all the approved documents, or maybe show me all the meeting minutes, something like that. All right. So that's pretty much it. That's pretty much it in terms of the document set capability. And Yeah, it pretty much allows you to combine all the previous options. So if you like folders, all right, they kind of make sense to you, but at the same time, you also like metadata and the ability to group, sort, and filter. You kind of have both, and document set allows you to achieve both in this particular case. Now, this was kind of a brief overview of the different options that we have available in terms of organizing documents in SharePoint. Before I end the video, I wanted to show you a few resources I have on my website. So first of all, if you go to my SharePointMaven.com, my website, and click on blog, I do have actually step-by-step instructions on how to configure a document set. And there are actually lots of steps involved, all right? So there are lots and lots of steps involved. So document set, that fourth option I just showed you, is the most, I guess, complicated option. There are lots and lots of, steps involved. But, if you have patience, if you feel comfortable and confident, feel free to check it out, follow the steps, and you will be able to configure your document library with document sets. Another option I want to show you, I do offer both live and on-demand training. So if you want to get familiar, if you have a group of users who want to get familiar with those metadata and content type capabilities, I do offer both live and on-demand training. So let me show you that. So obviously, if you click on live training, you will see all the courses I offer. So if you want to learn how to, everything about metadata, I do offer live training on that. So feel free to check it out. So if you have a group of users, there are many different ways to set up metadata in a SharePoint. So we will cover all of those in this particular course. And if you want to learn more about content types and document sets, I actually provide this live training for those as well. Now, I also offer this same training on demand. So if you're just by yourself and you don't have a group of users and you want to take it at your own pace, I do offer both courses on demand as well. So feel free to enroll in those if need be. But for now, I think that's all I wanted to share in this particular video. Hopefully you now know a little bit more about different ways to organize information in a SharePoint. And thank you very much for watching this video, and see you again on my blog, SharePointMaven.com, as well as my YouTube channel. Goodbye.